business in general isn't for everybody. The world needs W-2 workers.
Yes.
Nobody here that's W-2 worker is less than. Understand that where you are now, you are there, and if you're happy with that, completely fine. But if you're not, there's plenty of opportunity to go somewhere else and do something different.
That.
Right? This is the country of the opportunity, and if you're stuck somewhere where you're not liking it, you have nobody to blame but yourself.
What's up, Raza? Welcome back to the Valley Vibes podcast. The following is a conversation with Sam Gonzalez, who has years of experience in real estate and is helping of countless of individuals and families secure their future through life insurance and guiding them through the housing market. His insights and knowledge are invaluable, and I'm sure you'll grab a gem or two in today's episode. Once again, if you want to get more information or contact him, his information will be down below. And thank you guys again for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Sam, bienvenido.
Thank you.
How you doing, bro?
Good, man.
Welcome to the Valley Vibes podcast.
I appreciate your time, man.
First of all, bro, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I love the idea of sharing with your people and how we can help the community.
So on this episode, I want to cover real estate, basically the basics, not too deep, but like some surface level, something where we can bring value to anybody listening, and even to myself, because I plan on purchasing a home in the near future. And why not ask an expert? Because you can only ask Google so many questions.
Right.
So, and also following up with a bit of life insurance. So first of all, man, I want to get to know like your background, or like where you come from, and what got you into this field, like what led up to it. Right. So let's go back memory lane.
Yeah, so back in when I was 19, I started working for a family business, and I did that W-2 job for about 7 years, and I realized, this isn't where I want to be. So I ended up following my mom's footsteps and getting my real estate license. So my mom's a broker here in Lodi, and we share with the community here in the Hispanic community how we can help with first-time home buyers, stuff like that. And I really like that mantra, so I decided to get my license and do that. So 4 years in, about 6 months ago, I was introduced by a family friend of how we can utilize life insurance to protect ourselves. I was already looking for life insurance for myself and my wife. And then it was just kind of, destiny put us together, and I saw the value of the product. I saw the value of the business. And so I decided, hey, let me jump in and see how I can share this with my people.
The real estate side, like that came first, right?
Yeah.
And how many years have you been doing that?
It's gonna be 4 years in March.
4 years in March.
Yeah.
And so, who got you introduced to that part of it?
My mom. She's been in real estate. She's been a broker here and locally.
What's a broker? That's something I straight up don't even know.
Yeah. So a broker is just kind of somebody who owns the company. So it's her company, her firm, and then she can bring on more agents under her.
Wow.
Yeah. So she became.
She's the boss.
Yeah, she's the boss. She's my boss. She's my mom and my boss. So it's great. She came into the industry about 2004. And became an agent and learned all this stuff, and then she ended up going on her own. And then for a long time, she told me, "Hey, come on board." But for one thing or another, I just didn't. And so, finally, the switch flipped for me, and I decided to get my license, and that was 4 years ago, and I haven't looked back since.
What made you flip the switch?
Just understanding that our time is very, very, very valuable, and I was tired of selling my hours for a paycheck, versus how can I actually help the community and give myself a better return for my time spent.
100%. And so your mom's always been like a entrepreneur, like business owner, like in control basically of her time. And that's what you wanted to like replicate. And that's why you took the leap and jump into real estate and all that.
Yeah, both of my parents actually have been in entrepreneurs since I can remember. Ever since I was a little kid, and my dad had his body shop here in Lodi. He fixes cars, and I always saw that, he was his own boss. My mom, same thing. She had her jewelry store back in the day, and that's something that I saw. Well, I didn't really know any different, what the W-2 difference was versus the 1099 difference. I just knew that my parents worked a lot, and they busted their butts, and so I, who better to learn from than them how to continue the future.
Just like quick recap is W-2 is when you work for somebody.
Right.
1099 is is that business owner or like contractor or
Well, W-2 is an employee.
employee?
Right?
Employee,
Right.
got it.
Employee. So you work for somebody else, and they pay your bills or they pay your check, and they control what you do.
And then 1099.
And 1099 is self-employed or a contractor, something similar to that. That's the very basic understanding of it. Now, at 1099, you have your control of what you do and how you do things. Even if you work under somebody else, they can't actually tell you what to do. So that's where you start to take your own time, and you start to push it how you see it should be done.
That's also where you get like a lot of tax breaks now.
Yeah, there's a lot more benefits to a 1099 because you do have write-offs. What's a write-off? Who pays the write-offs? Well, that's business expenses. So you have you have this cool setup you have here. If you made this your business, you can actually write all this stuff off and help you with your taxes later on in the future.
Fuel,
Lights, anything that has to do with your business. Exactly. So if you have a home office, you can actually write that off. Don't quote me on that. Tax professionals, you guys know how to do your thing. So, refer to a tax professional. But from my understanding is that
this ain't advice. This is just information.
Right. This is all for educational purposes only.
Exactly.
But no, there's a lot of things that you can do to help lessen that tax burden. Right. At the end of the day, we all work hard for our money.
Exactly.
And we don't want to just let it all go out the other end through to Uncle Sam. So, what can you do? We'll open up a business and have write-offs on how to utilize your money better.
That's something that a lot of people, I think, overlook is that I feel like the biggest I've heard, maybe you can confirm this, the biggest tax breaks I've seen are renting out properties or like being owning real estate and like write-offs with like owning a home and then write-offs with owning a business, because I feel like those are the two fundamentals that drive America is whether you house people or whether you employ people, and then that's why those two areas get the most tax breaks. Is that like true?
Yeah, from my understanding, yeah, especially homeowners get a lot of tax breaks, depreciation, stuff like that, the value of the house, and business owners get their write-offs and stuff like that. Their taxes aren't helpful for the common employee. They're not very easy on the common employee. So they're people that are in business, homeowners, get a little bit of more tax breaks.
100%. And going very basic, this is a question I actually had for you. Real estate, like, is real estate just a land, or can a trailer be real estate? I sometimes see when I go to the Bay Area, I see houses on like water that are like boats, but like they're like homes basically. Like, or is it just the land itself, or like what?
Well, yeah, no, real estate in general is you're buying the land.
So it's not a boat. Like, 'cause aren't those more like assets?
Right, that's just undoubtedly an asset. Like I'm assuming like you're talking like houseboats and stuff like that.
Yeah, houseboats.
I've never dealt with one personally, but I'm assuming that it's going to be just kind of like a car, like a boat.
Got you.
Right?
Yeah, and also like a trailer too, right? That's
like a manual. So if you have like a mobile home, usually they're not considered real estate.
I see.
Unless they're fixed to the property.
I see. But and a big difference is like they're somewhat cheaper, but they don't appreciate in value really.
No, they're the manufactured homes are kind of hard to get funding for. So a lot of them are out of pocket. So that's why I believe that most of them aren't very expensive. I mean, they're still expensive, but they're not like a home. Because you're not actually buying anything other than the house, and you're kind of renting the space that you put it in.
I see.
Right, mobile parks are amazing. They're actually a really, really amazing real estate investments, but the mobile home isn't.
I see.
So the ones that are winning are the ones that are buying the lot and renting out every space to those homeowners.
Yeah, that owning the royalty, like almost like a royalty, because you're just borrowing my land and you're renting the space out to them. Wow. Buying a home, man. So no, obviously we need a loan, but to get a loan, like what's involved? Like work history, credit to debt, down payment, like what? So like let's start off with like credit. Like what realistically, what banks will work with you? What's your credit score's got to be at minimum?
Well, there's a lot of programs available. Every single county, every single area has different programs available.
You see, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the good thing is that in if you do just broaden it, for instance, like a FHA loan, so a federal housing, excuse me, government-backed loans.
Yes.
So you have a lot less restrictions, a little bit easier access. So I'm not gonna get too much into the weeds of the numbers, but
because it varies.
Yeah, they vary.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you have conventional versus FHA, a lot of different programs.
But the most popular one is FHA, right? That's the one I see get here thrown out a lot. Is that the one?
I wouldn't say it's the most popular, but it's the most accessible.
Right. Okay.
So,
more people can obtain that one.
Right.
100%.
Right, because it's less down payment, lower restrictions, lower guidelines, which is amazing. Because nowadays you're looking here in Lodi for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, you're looking anywhere above $400,000. And not anybody can just, afford a $400,000 payment, right? So you're gonna be able to get qualified for a FHA loan that allow you less restrictions. So for a credit score, you're looking anywhere from a 580 up.
580 up. So you're 580 and up, you're in the green.
You're in the green. You're in the yellow. Okay. So when you're up, you go 580 to 680. You're kind of in the yellow, but you still have a green light to get something.
Ideally, you want to be 700.
680 up.
680 up. That's when
700.
the terms start getting better.
But it's never a bad time to start looking.
I see.
Right, because everybody thinks, oh, I'm not going to look until I have a 750s credit score. Don't do that. Because you don't know how long that'll take, and you don't know what other things you need to do in between. So if you're ever thinking, okay, I want to buy a house, whether it's in a year, 2, 5 years down the road, I would say speak to a professional. Let me guide you to a professional that can actually teach you what you need to do and see where your current situation is and what goal you need to meet. And they'll actually plan it out for you and help you get to that goal.
I love that. So moving on to the next thing is, all right, so these loans programs, 580 minimum. Now, debt, man, like people have debt. Most people have debt. And I hear a lot of mixed things up in the air. Some people say it's good to have debt because then the banks know like you're a good borrower because you make your payments and stuff like that. Other people say like you shouldn't have debt at all because like that counts against whatever you do have. So like how do like banks, real estate agents, like how do you guys like look at that debt?
Well, for us as real estate agents, we don't really focus on that side. We actually we have our lender partners guide them in that aspect. But in the understanding of debt, there is always good debt and there is bad debt. Major credit card debt for whatever purchases that you don't really need, that's bad debt. But if you have a property in your name, or you have a property that you owe $250,000 on, that's a good debt because it's actually an appreciating asset. You can actually rent that out, offset some of that cost. But there is definitely good and bad debt, and the lender will actually tell you what is and what isn't good and what you should and shouldn't pay off. Because not always, if you say, okay, I have $10,000 in credit card debt and I have these student loans, XYZ, I'm not going to get a loan until I pay all that off. It's not always the case. Again, your lender will actually tell you, hey, pay this one off or pay this amount off on this credit card, and it'll help you more than paying off the entire credit card.
Is a car a depreciation asset, or is that like good debt or bad debt?
No, that's okay. It's a fun debt, but it's not in terms of qualifying. It's actually one of the worst ones you can have.
Really?
Because they take into consideration what your monthly payment is. So, for instance, let's say that your credit card, you have a $10,000 limit, but you have only a $150 payment monthly. Well, they're only going to take that $150 and consider it as part of the debt to income ratio, but the car is usually more expensive. You're talking about, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. Some people yeah. So I know we've run into a lot of people that they make good money, but they have, $1,000 car payment.
Yeah,
that's a huge chunk out of your income.
That's a check.
So a lot of people, are held. Everything else is perfect, but they're held back by their car payment because the car payment takes such a huge chunk out of your income monthly that it's hard for the lender to say, hey, you have enough to cover the rest.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
So for anybody out there thinking of buying a house and you're not yet qualified yet, don't go out and buy a huge car payment. Don't go out and get the nicest car. if you're planning to buy a house, go out and buy yourself a good, reliable commuter car for inexpensive price, as low as you can get. And then once you buy the house, go crazy and go buy that new car. As long as you can afford it.
I love that.
As long as you can make your monthly mortgage payments, that's all that matters.
Damn, that's sauce. I love that. That's value. I love that. We talked credit. We talked debt. Now, my last thing, and this for me too, is down payment. Mm-hmm. So the FHA I see is 3.5. Mm-hmm. Should I just have the money to cover the down payment, or is there hidden cost? Should I have like an emergency fund on the back end, like in case an shit fund, or mm-hmm. what do you like? What do you like recommend? Like let's just easy numbers. 3.5%. I know this ain't real, but $100,000 home, maybe in the state of Wisconsin. Yeah. I don't know, but 3,500. Should I just have 3,500 saved and like pray it's all gonna work out, or should I have double that, or I like got 1,500 extra on the side, or what do you think?
Well, I would never say have the bare minimum, because you never know. There aren't necessarily hidden fees. Mm-hmm. Everything should be laid out front. Mm-hmm. But there are unknown costs, unknown expenses in the process of buying a house. So typically your down payment, your $3,500 is it's a given, mm-hmm. right? That's what is going to come out. Mm-hmm. Plus you have closing costs. You have the expenses for your loan, whatever cost it's going to be, whatever costs are going to incur in the process of getting that loan. You have appraisal fees. You have home inspection costs.
And that comes out of the buyer's pocket?
Right. The appraisal and the home inspections usually come out of the buyer's pocket up front. Yeah. The rest of the fees come out through the whole end of the process, mm-hmm. which is amazing because it allows someone the ability to look into the house, understand what the house looks like, how the bones, are they good, what issues does the house have, and then in that case they like it, they move forward with it. And if they don't, they're only out their home inspection and their appraisal.
And they're not signed up to a big ass commitment, right? Or like tied up, right. Money's tied up and mm-hmm. all that. Oh yeah. Wow! So
the costs incurred are usually set up from the beginning, mm-hmm. but things fluctuate sometimes. Mm-hmm. Things change. Contracts. When we agree to a contract, it's not set in stone that that's what it is. There's still wiggle room. There's still negotiating can be done in mm-hmm. between that time from point A to point B. There's still some negotiating you can do, and that can actually lower or raise your out-of-pocket expense. So typically, I would say have your down payment plus probably another 3 to 5% of the property.
So an extra 3,000 to 5,000,
right?
Which is a good rule of thumb, because even not even for the house, but just have an emergency fund.
Right.
I feel like I saw something in the news. The average American doesn't even have $1,000 saved. Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. And that's terrible, because then the paycheck to paycheck life is just bad in general. So even without even knowing, you should have an emergency fund regardless. Yeah. But that's a good rule of thumb, 3 to 5%. I'm gonna keep that in mind.
Yeah. So typically you're looking at your down payment plus another 3 to 5%. Mm-hmm. So that's the rule of thumb. Have some savings. And if you're in the process of buying a house, do not go out and buy a car. Do not go out and buy new furniture on credit. Do not go out and spend more money on your credit cards, please.
I wanted to ask, so now that's like the bare bone, like the basics and stuff. I want to get you in, man. Yeah. The agents, man. How does somebody find a good agent? I see people trying to do their thing, promote themselves, Google, social media, even like signs all across town, work with me. How does somebody like first time home buyer find a good agent? Obviously we met through one of my closest friends, but like anybody like wants to reach out to you or just wants to vet a good agent. How do you know like somebody's good or bad in your experience?
Well, luckily enough, I've only had to deal with personally myself good agents because my mom helped me buy my house when I bought my house. But I would say word of mouth is the most important thing.
Reputation.
We in our office, we don't really do too much marketing. We do a lot of word of mouth, referral clients sending us new clients. because our experience that we give them is what we hope we can give the rest of the people, and that's what they're expecting from us. So my key thing is to really focus on the client's experience. Share with them as much as you can. Transparency is key. But how do you know another agent's a good agent? I would say look up their history. Even ask them, hey, how many deals have you done, or what's your most recent deal? Ask them for phone numbers of their previous clients.
Yeah, you want somebody seasoned,
right? Right.
Because buying a house, if ever done, it's gonna happen one, two. I feel most of us, even maybe me, it's gonna happen probably once in your life, twice in your life. But you're gonna want somebody to do a damn well good job of doing it, man. It's like almost surgery. You have somebody operating, you don't want somebody that's their first day or first time. You want somebody that, this is a routine procedure. I've done it all the time. So, a history and word of mouth. And I think those are some very good points, solid points.
And another thing is that when you say seasoned, I hope people understand that it doesn't mean that you're older or been in the industry longer than others, because that doesn't make a difference. You can have brand new agents or agents 6 months in that do a better job than agents have been here for years. I've only been here for 4 years, and I think that I do a pretty good job. There's probably agents out there that probably think I did a bad job, or I did an okay job, but so far so good. All the clients that I've helped have gotten through. We haven't had any issues. I've had some hard cases. Those are the ones that really help you understand what it does take to get from point A to point Z, because there's a lot of in between, and sometimes the easy cases are great because you get through it, everybody's happy, but then you have those that are really, really tough, and that's where you distinguish a great agent from a bad agent, right?
So how they handle under pressure,
right? How they handle the issues, and how they cater to the client, right? So my focus is both in real estate and life insurance is let me cater to the client's needs, because at the end of the day, if they're happy, they'll be able to refer more clients to me.
100%.
And if they're happy, I'm going to be content with the job that I provided for them.
Facts.
Right.
Facts. What's a common issue people come across? Like, what's something that you see, like it's like normal, or like it's something that like it's almost expected sometimes, that like, or is it case by case so different?
I mean, every single case is different. It's very interesting. Every single case is different. Every single agent does things differently. Here in California, I mean, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of agents.
Because we're so big.
Right. They're so big, and it's a market where everybody thinks just because you get into it, you're going to make a ton of money. There's a lot of new agents. I think there's a stat out there that less than 20% of agents are still full-time agents after the first year. So, and I've seen that when I was working on my licensing. I was in a course with this guy that I still keep in touch with, and he was an agent in the Bay Area and ended up doing construction. He's doing very well for himself, but he left the real estate side because he just didn't want to deal with the whole waiting on commissions, waiting on clients, because it's such a saturated market. Yeah. So that's one of the common issues you see. You see a lot of turnaround in agents, where they don't understand the concept of W-2 versus 1099. A lot of them go from W-2 to 1099, and they don't realize that now you got to pay your own taxes. You got to save up. Even every single check you make, you got to make sure you save up for your taxes. It's one of those things that, understanding the common thing is one of the common issues that you do run into sometimes is there are some agents that are very, very poor communicators.
Like not transparent?
They're not transparent with what's going on. They don't answer your phone calls. You're in the middle of a deal, and they're not answering your phone calls. And it's like we're on, all of our deals are on a time crunch. So when there's an issue and someone doesn't answer you, then it becomes very difficult.
Time is money, baby.
Time is money. And then every day that goes on, it can be more money. So that's the one thing that I pride myself on, is that if I'm called, I answer. If I'm texted, I answer. If I emailed, I answer.
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible, because I know that once that email goes to you, that ball is now in your court, and everything is held up on you sometimes.
Leads, man. You got to work. And I really liked how you said the whole season thing too, because it's about putting in the reps. It's not really about how much time you've been in it. Have you been putting in the work? And a big misconception that people, I think, do see is real estate, or when people say things are saturated, things are too much, and it doesn't work out for them, I just don't think you're not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because how many taco trucks are here? And they all bring money.
Yep.
How many gyms are here? They all bring money. How many restaurants? Like, if you're good enough, you're gonna like outlast the competition.
Right.
A lot of people try to get in, but it's all about proving yourself, and not everybody's cut out to be a business owner.
Nope.
But if it's something you want to do, give it a try, give it a shot. At least you say you did it, because it takes sacrifice, investments, losses. I feel like I don't think there's ever been a person or somebody could tell me, but a person, his first business was successful. It's all about reps. And then the pros and cons of business is, at least with the W-2, you clock out, I don't got to worry about nothing. I don't got to worry about who's keeping the lights on, what products are good or bad, what my phone, I don't pick up if I'm not on the clock. But when you're a business owner, you're on the clock 24/7. You got to manage these people. You got to make sure inventory's right, quality control, reoccurring customers, but you enjoy the fruits of the labor. But can you undertake that much stress?
Right. And like you said, a business owner's business in general isn't for everybody. The world needs W-2 workers.
Yes.
Nobody here that's W-2 workers less than. Understand that where you are now, you are there, and if you're happy with that, completely fine. But if you're not, there's plenty of opportunity to go somewhere else and do something different. Right? This is the country of the opportunity, and if you're stuck somewhere where you're not liking it, you have nobody to blame but yourself.
I love that, man. Hell yeah, Sam, dropping all the sauce today.
Yeah. No, because you see it, and I have seen it personally. You see people that are at the job. It might be the only thing that they know how to do, but we're not the only place, or you're not at the only place that offers that opportunity,
that service.
Yeah, that service, that product. If you're not happy with where you are, and I've told people personally, if you're not happy with where you are, go somewhere else. Try somewhere else. Stop being content with where you're at, and that'll give you an idea of, okay, 2-3 places don't like you, or you don't like them. Something else is an issue. So never be content with what you're doing if you're not happy.
That whole "it's not you, it's me." It's also like some people work good with others, some don't. Some like labor, others don't. It's also this is why at a young age, if possible, it's good to try out different things.
Yeah.
And like, this is not like, people look at me and weird and crazy because I like the fields, farm labor, field work. They're like, I could never, like, that. How could you do that? Sun, backbreaking work. And then I look at my brother, who's he likes the kitchen, the kitchen, burgers, food, customer service, and I'm like, man, you couldn't pay me enough to do that. Right. Like so everybody's different, but you don't know till you try. You don't know till you try, and but it's also finding, like, it's life's journey, finding yourself, and just also just being happy, like, because you don't need I think the one thing that really messes us up is social media, that we feel like we need all these materialistic items to make us happy, but not really. Like, as I'm getting older, I'm starting to realize, if I'm healthy, my parents are good, my loved ones and friends that I care about are good, life is good. Like, there's very few things that can bring me down. Like, very few things. And I feel like that's really what is important in life.
Yeah, and that's amazing. You have that mindset. Having that mindset, you're already a winner, because the little things can't bring you down. So many of us see social media and see, that very successful business owner, or that very good-looking person, and you put yourself down immediately. Oh, I don't look that good, or I can never be that successful. Don't ever think like that. Everybody's path is different. Be happy with who you are, and if you're not happy with who you are, fight for it. Fight for those goals. Set yourself goals and meet them.
Always know you have the control of where to head and direction. You might not have the control of your skin color, where you're born, who you're related to, but you're in control of your body. You're in control of how much money you can make. You're in control of where you live. You're in control of who you pick as a partner, where you want to work. Like, there's things that you can take control of your life and better yourself if you really want to.
Oh yeah, no, that's a big thing, because so many people nowadays, they give up control as soon as something goes not their way.
Facts.
and most of us have that control, most of us should have the understanding that you have unlimited amount of resources nowadays. Internet gives you so many things. As much as it gives you bad, it gives you good. It gives you opportunities to find something different. Find that new, workout routine that you're going to like and you're going to really enjoy doing. Find that new business model that you really, really want and appreciate the concept and you want to push forward for. There's so many things out there. Now it's all in our hands. It's all in our hands. You grab that phone, you pick up the phone, you find who you want to talk to, reach out to them. At the end of the day, that's all you can do is keep trying, keep pushing forward.
Like Gary Vee said, you're one call away from changing your life.
Yeah.
How long have you lived in Lodi?
Well, I was born and raised in Lodi.
Born and raised, native.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Lodi. I actually bought my house in Lockford, but I'm like right on the border, so I'm still a Lodian at heart.
Do you remember when there was a Mervyn's here? Kmart?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, obviously, if you bought it, because my parents bought a property in the early 2000s, and now it's, from what they bought it to what it's worth today, it's like skyrocketed. Is there, people have this misconception. It's almost like I feel like people look at the housing market, like the stock market, like buy at the dip.
Mm-hmm.
Is there ever a wrong time to buy?
There is a wrong time to buy depending on what your situation is. So we typically, especially because we work with first-time home buyers, we advise if you're renting a house and you're tired of paying that rent and you know that they're going to keep raising your rent every single year, then why not take the plunge and sacrifice whatever you need to sacrifice now to save some money to buy that first house. As long as you can make that payment, and if you can make that payment for the next 30 years, then you shouldn't worry, right? There shouldn't be a wrong time, even if the prices are higher, interest rates are higher, right? Because at the end of the day, interest rates go up, prices come down.
And vice versa.
Like
we saw this past couple of years, the interest rates were
super low.
But the houses were
very expensive. And so, when the last year when the whole COVID market was crazy, the COVID market was, everybody thought the market's going to crash. The market's going to crash. It did the opposite. It skyrocketed. Everybody was working from home. Everybody was leaving the Bay Area, especially here locally, leaving the Bay Area to work remotely. So they were buying houses, Lodi, Sacramento, Elk Grove, and the prices were skyrocketing. Interest rates were near 2%. So, historic lows, and we were seeing incredible skyrocketing prices, but people were still buying because they still wanted a house.
Yeah.
Now they're waiting. They're like, a lot of them were waiting for the prices to come down. Prices came down slightly, but interest rates gone up. So at the end of the day, which one's the right one? There's no right or wrong time for someone who's looking to buy their first house.
And there's also pros and cons to this. Renting, owning. Like, the one thing about renting is maybe you don't worry about the maintenance, you don't worry about the lawn, you don't worry about the taxes on it, the plumbing sometimes, but also the big downside with renting is, like, whatever it is, whether it's $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, you're never going to see no return on that money. And then when it comes to buying a house, this is what I learned from my parents, you can even, like, build up equity in a house and take that out for an emergency, maybe for even like just wants and needs. So it's all situational, because there's also flexibility. Like with rent, like you're kind of mobile, I guess. You could also like switch to you can move around remotely, but with the house, you're stuck there until you find a buyer, close the deal. And I see it all as pros and cons, but on the surface level, I think investing and putting your money into something long-term, especially if you're going to like live here for the next 10, 20, 30 years. What do you think about from the small town it was to what it is today? I still consider it small, but like, do you see the housing market going up and up? Because I honestly see like Lodi is going to become like the next Napa. Like, well,
it's funny enough because I'm going to get a lot of flack for this from my wife, but my previous job was in the grapes and wine industry. So I praise Lodi for what it is. It is a mini Napa, but it's funny enough. Most of the grapes, or a lot of the grapes that go to Napa, and a lot of the wines that are done in Napa come from here in Lodi.
You're about to expose them, bro. What?
So in the grape industry, Lodi has very, very, very great soil, very great climate for grapes.
Yeah.
That's why we have over 90 wineries here in Lodi. A lot of the grapes that are grown here are shipped out to other parts of the state. Right. So it helps them in Napa because they bring in Lodi grapes, and then they classify it as Napa wine.
Is it because it's cheaper, or do you know the inside behind that?
I'm not sure about the whole inside end of it, but I believe that in order for it to be bottled as Napa wine, it has to be a certain amount of it has to be produced in Napa, and the rest can be from anywhere else. But in our industry, we shipped a lot of grapes out of Lodi to the Napa area, Sonoma, Healdsburg, St. Helena, all those areas out there, as well as places down south, and vice versa. We would bring grapes from down south up north, and it's one of those things that Lodi is growing so much. It's expanding so much. There's a lot of wealth here.
Yes,
there's a lot of wealth.
Oh yeah.
I do love Lodi. I've like I said, I was born and raised here. I don't see myself leaving this area for any near future, but who knows in the vast future? Who knows what'll happen? But I do believe Lodi is going to continue to grow.
100%.
It's expanding over and over. I mean, we see houses growing on the west side. The complexes are just keep expanding and expanding. I think that Lodi has a high ceiling.
Literally high ceilings. The houses over there, I think Lower Sac. It's like they stopped going across. Now they're just building up because they're like, nah, we need to put more people in these properties. So
right,
stack them on top of each other. The ones by Costco on like the Harney Lane area. I'm like, and I remember when none of that was here, and to see it now. Yeah. But I love it because it's almost like I remember we used to have to go to Stockton or like Elk Grove, Sac, like for like the bigger stores. Now it's all the Costco here. Right. It's all, the only thing I request is a Chick-fil-A and a Best Buy.
Okay. Yeah, that's very true. It's funny because, like you said, we were back in the day. You wanted to go to the mall. You had to go to, want to go to shopping somewhere good. You had to go to the mall. We had a Target and a Walmart, but now we have the Costco here. We have, hopefully soon, that bowling alley.
Waiting on it.
Still waiting on it, Lodi. Come on, man. But no, there's a lot of great things here. It's a very family-oriented city.
Yes.
And I love that. It's really, it's a really calm city, but it has a lot of upside. There's a lot of downtown life. There's not too crazy downtown life, but you have a lot of nice things you can go out to do. A lot of nice little restaurants. So I do think that Lodi is on the up.
Yeah, 100%.
There's still a lot for more growth. So anybody that's buying property here in Lodi, it's only going to continue to grow in value.
That's a fact. Something else I wanted to bring up was your the whole life insurance model. So what is life insurance?
So, I mean, in general, if we think about life insurance, it's to offset income for someone when they pass.
Offset income for when I pass. So let's just say me. I pass and I have life insurance. Does that cover my funeral and like that's it? Or what are we talking? Like, or does like money go down to my family, or if I have kids in the future? Like,
yeah, depending on what you get. There's different types. There's different types. Yeah. So there's all kinds of it. Like that's why I said the broad understanding, the main understanding is to offset expenses for funeral costs. And if you get more, you get obviously send it down to your family. Right. So once you do have a family, kids, wife, XYZ, you can set up your life insurance to help those funds go to them, help them, in order for them not to lose so they don't have to just, don't lose you and the house. They just lose you, and then the income that you leave behind helps take care of your kids and offset your income.
It's one of the few insurance that you actually that you're guaranteed to use.
Right.
How many people have car insurance, house insurance? And honestly, I hope you never have to use them. I'm just like making a statement, but life insurance is one of the few insurance you're guaranteed to use. It's true. And like what are the benefits of it? It's also like a savings, you said, or like a investment almost, you said?
Right. So again, there's different types of products. Again, This is for educational purposes only.
Yes. No advice.
There are there's many products out there across the nation. There's not tons of products. Everybody has their niche. Everybody has their own thing. But if you think about, we have a term policy, which is kind of like a rental property.
Yep.
Whatever you put in, you don't get out unless you pass away.
I like how you tied these.
Right. So that's the easiest way to help understand. And then you have permanent products, which you're purchasing, which also have some sort of savings account attached to it, where it earns on interest.
Yes.
Right. So that's where you can utilize the different types of products to help you while you die and while you're alive, to help you generate some more income.
I actually had the privilege of taking Sam's presentation, and thank you for that. It's something that as you get older, like it's more it's good to get information. It's good to get information. So I want to tell anybody that has 30 minutes to an hour to spare and would like to get more information, through audio and through video, it's not the same, but because Sam has a legit presentation that he goes through slide by slide, and I was stopping him every 2 seconds to, hey, what about this, what about that? But he knows what his stuff, he knows what he's talking about. So anybody serious wants to get some more information, I definitely tell you guys, reach out to Sam. His links will be in the bottom, but it's something that our community needs to know about at least. And honestly, like, knowledge is power. So you knowing a little bit more about something is not going to do you any harm. Like,
Right.
don't binge watch that next episode or series on Netflix. Like, get some more information, know about it. Maybe not for you, but hey, for somebody you care about, for somebody you love, because life insurance is not only just for yourself. It's for, like, if you have kids, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, anybody, and appreciate the plug-in. But really, when I saw it, I immediately thought, how can I share this? How can I share this to the community? How many of our family members do we know that their only source of retirement or only source of savings is whatever they put under the couch? Right.
Sheesh.
So a lot of us, a lot of our families, a lot of our culture, our community, aren't educated on this aspect. And that's where I'm looking to really expand and help educate both Hispanic community and the Lodi community in general. There's not a lot of people out there that really want to cater to a client and really educate them. A lot of them are, hey, let me get your signature and let me move on.
But they don't the follow up, the caring, the actually want to do a change.
Right. Actually, helping educate them and helping them understand what they're getting into, versus let me just take your money and I'll run off. Let me get my commission, and then whatever happens to you happens to you. If you don't find out, it's not my problem. You know, that's where, again, going back to the real estate, how do you find a good agent? It's really hard to, because you usually don't know if it was a good agent until after the fact.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I pride myself on being able to communicate with clients, really what their needs are, and let me fit something to their needs. And anybody that's looking to be educated, I'm really looking to really share, really help people understand that there is other sources of other resources out there. Not
resources.
Just resources, not just a savings account, not just a bank savings account.
Yes.
There's a lot of things out there that a lot of us don't think of. Usually most Hispanic communities, they're a one income household.
Yeah.
What happens when that one income passes away or gets hurt or gets sick and they can't work?
Damn, bro. I just had like
an epiphany.
Yes. It just blew my mind right now, because 7 years in the fields I was, right? And the guys would get really bummed out when we wouldn't work. One, due to California laws, due to heat. I think if it exceeds 90 degrees or something, they get kicked out. And when it rains. And even a day after it rains, because it's flooded, because we're liabilities. And that's good. That's all right, because those laws are in place to protect the workers. I 100% agree. But the whole single income household thing is true, because my coworker, him not going to work, that's 1 day less of money to feed his friends and family. I mean, not friends and family, his family and kids. And I'm just like, wow, like, and if only like they knew more information or knew about more resources, and it's usually, like you said, through word of mouth. That's usually how Because our old folks, they're not really. Most of them are into the phones. They're not into the media, social media and stuff. It's more like los compadres, what they tell you. Oh, what your brother and sister tell you, or just like the people you surround yourself with. This is why I think it's also really important to surround yourself with uh, you heard that one saying you heard that, I'm pretty sure you heard that one saying, if you're the smartest person in the room, you got to get into another room. Like if you think you know everything about in the people you're surrounded with, I think you're starting to talking to more people, because we never know enough, and there's so much information and resources out there that maybe you don't need them or they can't benefit you, but hey, you can help somebody else and figure it out. Like, hey, like pass on the information to someone.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's one of our key things is that we educate folks. And if the timing isn't right for you, but maybe you know somebody, because everybody knows somebody that had to deal with cancer or got some sort of illness, got some sort of injury or unexpected death.
The worst of the worst.
Worst of the worst. And what happens is most often people don't have any sort of resource to to cover the expenses for medical expenses or funeral expenses. And B, where's the next income going to come from?
Yeah.
Where's the next paycheck for that food for their kids going to come from? I see too many times, GoFundMe's, and GoFundMe's are amazing. Crowdfunding is amazing. But, there's a statistic, again, I'm coming back to statistics, that less than 12% of GoFundMe's actually meet their goal. Yeah. And about 16% get nothing.
It's because when shit hits the fan, that's when you really see who your friends are. When things get real, like everybody's there for the party, everybody's there for the night out. When you're down, that's who you see. When you need money, when money's involved, even somebody's time, that's when you really see like who's down with you, who's not. And it's sad because I know exactly what you're talking about. When something tragic happens, a lot of people don't show up because he was a good guy or she was a good girl. Boom, that's it. Like, yeah. And then because everybody moves on and goes on with their life. So the least you can do is set up some type of like plan or have some type of pathway for like, hey, I'm gonna set you guys up. I don't know what you guys go. I'm not telling you guys to go left or right, but here's at least the tools you need to move on. Right. And I think that's what we should all like strive to, like just set up the next generation for a better future, not like with some crazy debt or some crazy stress, because that's also another thing that hurts a lot of us as individuals is like the stress of like it's a hard time to go through when we lose somebody or something tragic happens. So
yeah, one of the things that it's amazing what this product can do for people is that it allows them time to grieve. Right? How many people? I mean, I don't know if you know anybody, but there's a lot of people out there when they pass, right? You lose somebody, but that next person has to pick up the pace and now go to work. They don't have the time to say, okay, I just lost my husband, my wife, my brother, my sister, to actually take the time to really understand what it is, grieve, go through it, and understand the process and heal. They have to, okay, funeral happened, let me go back to work, because I need to put food on the table. I can't actually take the time to feel my feelings and move forward. And what does that lead to? More stress, more depression, more sadness. And you already lost your loved one. Why do you want to lose yourself too?
My job, you get 3 days. 3 days, man.
Yeah, 3 days. That's a whole long time. 3 days. That's
wow, bro. I didn't even think of like that's true, bro. That's 3 days. Like
at the end of the day, 3 days, you barely like lose the adrenaline of losing someone. I would imagine. I haven't lost anybody close to my heart. But I would imagine you barely lose the adrenaline of understanding that they passed. You never had the time to really cope and understand and grieve and feel and speak to somebody. 100%. Again, it's most of the time, money is the leading factor of why they have to move on, not because they actually moved on.
No, it's like necessity.
Yep, necessity to bring in more income to pay for the food on the kids' table versus the understanding that, okay, you lost your loved one. Let me take the time to really process this and teach my kids or show my kids what it means that now they're gone. Now it's just move on to the next.
Share information, gain knowledge, get resources, and build a community that wants to better our people. 209, San Joaquin, Mexican, black, white, I don't care. But I think together we're stronger, and the more information you know, the more powerful you are.
Yeah, no, definitely. That definitely the stigma and the what's the word? The separation, the division that we've caused in our country has just led more and more to loss versus gain. And education, understanding each other, and just sharing a common factor with each other is amazing, because now you can educate someone on how to help protect them in the event of a loss, how to help someone get a house, what's the next step.
Yes.
Let's teach someone how to make something better than to continually share the negative.
Yes. Information on buying a house, information on getting life insurance, information on everyone with people. Like everything we talked about, it's all like valuable stuff that people should really like make a priority. But we're such in a consuming stuff that doesn't better us. And almost this is just me going with like my whole conspiracy shit. Is I almost feel like the government wants us to kind of be separated and like divided, and them there, us here, and I'm just like nah, because there's no, it's not better. It takes a what's someone saying? It takes a village to build a community or to raise a family, or something like that.
Yeah, the village. It takes a village to raise a kid.
Yeah.
But I mean, in general, it takes a village to raise yourself to understand. Because I don't know everything. Like you said, you're in a circle of people. You want more education? Go to a different circle. You read a book. Get on a podcast. Watch different videos. Everybody has something to share. And that's one of the things that I realized getting into life insurance, that there was so much more out there that isn't shared to the common people. It's shared amongst the wealthy, right? Life insurance is used by the uber wealthy to continually raise their wealth.
It's almost like secrets of the rich.
Secrets of the rich.
But we say that, but it's not really even a secret.
No, it's just we haven't been told it.
Yeah, you only know what you know, and unless you become the change in your generation, in your community, to like, nah, it stops here. We're gonna do better. We're not gonna be a statistic. We're not gonna end up where we started. We're gonna move forward. I might not make a touchdown, but hey, if we started at the 40th yard line, I'm gonna make us to the 30th or 20th, and then my kids are gonna make it to the 10th, and like maybe they'll score. That's how I look at it.
And it's amazing what products like this can do for generations. Building generational wealth through life insurance is something that I didn't know existed. And now when I run the numbers and I see what you can do for kids for their retirement, it's just astronomical. It's something that you would never even think could be possible. For a low monthly contribution, it's like mind-boggling what time can do for our kids and for our families.
I want to ask you, man. You're really smart. You're educated, and you come from a great home. Your parents are both like successful business owners, from what I hear, and that's awesome. How have your friends and like your partner influenced you? Like, do they support all this? Like, do you get a lot of support? Because you're very confident, and I love that.
I feel like I do. I feel like I do get a lot of support. A lot of it is from my mentorship. I've been able to get a little more confident in how I can share with people. I can tell you from day one, I was terrible at it. Public speaking is very, very difficult. It's something that I'm learning how to do a little bit more and a little bit more.
We're on the same boat.
Yeah, we can never get perfection, but we can definitely get better.
1% better.
Yeah, right. Every single time. But no, I've luckily enough, I've had a very supporting household. A very supporting circle of friends. The amazing thing is that just sharing with them is support enough. Just because for me, I feel like if you're willing to listen to me, that's a support. Because even if you don't purchase anything, I don't necessarily need you to purchase something, but if you hear me out and you give me feedback, that's support enough. Because I know everybody's time is valuable, and if you're taking 30 minutes to an hour out of your day to listen to me, then that means you support me and you believe in what I'm doing.
That's something so small that I notice makes a big difference. Whether I'm opening up or I'm just listening within my friends, sometimes you just want to like an outlet. Whether it's a close friend, a family member, your partner, even though I know they can't do nothing about it to change the situation or to change the outcome of what's going on, just having that outlet that I can talk to you, or like having somebody that you come to you and not feel judged, or like that is support. Being listened to, and like being able to talk to somebody without like getting put down, neglected, all that. That you're so right. That is a big, powerful type of support.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, through life, you start to see different things. You hear different quotes. One of the things that I'm learning from myself is that men and women think very, very differently. So when in this case, when your partner comes to you and says, "Hey, this and this happened," instead of telling them, "Well, how about you do this to fix it?" You just listen to them.
Yeah.
Because they don't want answers. They don't want a logical reaction to what they're asking you or telling you. They want you to feel with them.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to feel for a second, and then once they feel, then they're like, okay, they'll move on. But it's every single person, every single business, every single model is different.
Yeah.
And the thing is that you can start to understand and like, okay, that's how this person works.
Yes.
That's one of those things that in business it's very different and difficult to really gauge every single person how they react, but I'm getting a lot better at understanding that everybody needs a different response.
Yeah, you how you talk to your mom is not how you're gonna talk to every woman. How you talk to your best friend is not how you're gonna talk to every dude you come across. Like it's a situation and stuff, but also just stay true to yourself too.
Right.
Like don't let yourself get walked up upon. Have respect for yourself. Have a good mindset. But all this comes with like one step at a time, because this ain't like to become the whole package, I guess you can say. Is it's you got to work on yourself too.
Yeah.
It's
Experience definitely does help. So it's just one of those things that you take one day at a time, one conversation at a time.
Yep.
And then expectations are very, very important too.
Yes.
Expectations with your business partners, expectations with your partners, home partners, life partners. Setting that up from the beginning,
that
will avoid a lot of bad conversations,
conflicts down the road.
Yeah.
Setting expectations and boundaries and being upfront, like being upfront, and that what's create long lasting friendships, relationships, everything. Like, because if you let somebody get away with something that you're not cool with, but you let it happen, and then 6 months down the road, like that's a lot strong. Then you say something, then now that's a whole. It's gonna blow up in your face, because they're like, oh, but it's always been like this, or what the heck, blah blah. And I've just seen it happen, and this is just from, like you said, experience. Sometimes you gotta get burnt to like not touch the fire again, or not play with fire again.
Right. Yeah, I heard a quote that it really helped me out a little bit. Was teach people how you want to be treated, right?
Teach people how you want to be treated,
right? So if they do something wrong to you and you let it continue to happen, you're teaching them that it's okay.
Like getting called a name or something.
Right.
You gotta stop it right there and then, or if you're cool with it, you're gonna let it play on.
Yeah.
I see.
And it takes a lot out of you to be able to get to that point.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of confidence in yourself. It takes a lot of guts.
Yeah.
But once you get to that point, you realize that nobody can stop you.
100%. Hey, Sam. Well, thank you, bro.
Yeah.
This was really dope. I honestly, bro, I learned real estate, life insurance, how to become a better person. Thank you so much, bro. Like this one's gonna be fire.
No, I appreciate the time. No, this is really cool. I really appreciate your setup. I love the time that you set up for me. I mean, you really took care of me on this one. I all your guests, I'm sure they get the same treatment. You got really, really good customer service.
I appreciate that, man.
You got a lot of things going for you, and I know this podcast is going to be big. I know you're doing very well on it. You're really focusing on it. You're putting in the time, and this is just going to go across the board for all your future endeavors. I feel like you got a really strong head on your shoulders, and I'm really excited to see what the future has for you.
Hey, man, you're a G, bro. Appreciate you, man. Yeah. And likewise, man. Everything you said, tenfold, and we're going to come up together. Yeah. Anybody that helps me now at ground zero, I'm bringing them to the top with me. Best believe that, bro. Thank you, man.
No problem.